In K-pop, going solo isn't freedom. It's a stress test. When the group spotlight disappears, there's nowhere to hide. No shared lines, no group hype, no "the team carried the stage." It's just you, your name, your sound, your brand, your ability to sell tickets and headlines on your own. And if you win, you don't just become a member with solo work, you become a one-man franchise. Today's top 3 male idols who are most hot as solo independent movers right now, based on visibility, scale, and impact, are G-Dragon, Taemin, and Baekhyun. But this episode is not a boring achievements list. It's a playbook breakdown, because these 3 are dominating 3 different lanes. G-Dragon runs the myth plus stadium gravity lane. When he moves, the market reacts like it's an event season. His 2025 Übermensch World Tour scale is already documented widely. Taemin runs the performance authority lane, a soloist whose stage identity is so strong it becomes a brand by itself, now with fresh momentum from major moves in 2026. Baekhyun runs the sales plus fandom engine lane, the kind of solo power where numbers and demand stay violent even outside group schedules. By the end, you'll understand why these 3 don't compete like normal idols. They compete like business models. G-Dragon's solo career doesn't behave like a normal idol's career. Most idols stay hot by being everywhere. Variety shows, constant releases, nonstop visibility. G-Dragon stays hot by doing the opposite. He disappears, and the demand grows louder. That's not luck. That's a business model. 1. His solo brand isn't music. It's a cultural signal. With G-Dragon, the public doesn't just wait for a song, they wait for a moment, because his name functions like a stamp. If G-Dragon is involved, the era is automatically important. That's why even small updates about him feel like headlines. He isn't marketed like a singer releasing content. He's marketed like an event returning, and that kind of brand is rare because it turns attention into an asset. When attention becomes an asset, you can move slower and still stay dominant. 2. The real money engine, creative ownership plus identity power. There are 2 reasons his solo career keeps winning, even when he isn't releasing constantly. First, catalog power. G-Dragon isn't just performing songs. He's historically been tied to writing and producing. That means his income and influence aren't only tied to stage schedules. A creator's advantage is that the work can keep generating value long after the promo period ends. Second, identity power. G-Dragon doesn't wear fashion. He changes how fashion is perceived. He doesn't follow trends. He sets the mood that trends copy. That's why his solo brand stays relevant even when the music gaps are long, because his influence lives in culture, not just charts. 3. Why he's hot as a soloist. He operates like a luxury product. Here's the simplest way to understand it. G-Dragon is a luxury item. Luxury doesn't sell by being available 24/7. Luxury sells by being scarce, iconic, and emotionally desired. And his image is built exactly like that. Controlled, unpredictable, and instantly recognizable. So when he drops anything, music, a performance, a public appearance, it doesn't feel like content. It feels like a rare release. And rarity is what makes people chase. 4. The stage factor. When he tours, it becomes proof of power. In K-pop, touring is where the myth either collapses or becomes real. G-Dragon's solo touring narrative matters because it converts legend talk into something measurable, venues, demand, and fans showing up in real life. Touring also does something important for his brand. It resets public memory. People remember the aura. The tour reminds them the aura is still alive. 5. The playbook. How he stays #1 in solo relevance. If you want the G-Dragon solo blueprint, it's basically this. Create a signature identity so strong it becomes a symbol. Control scarcity, so every appearance feels expensive. Stay culturally connected, fashion, art, style, so you're always current, even in silence. Return with impact, not volume. That's why he remains one of the most talked about solo idols even when he isn't the most active. He isn't competing on frequency, he's competing on gravity. And now we pivot to a totally different kind of solo hot. Because if G-Dragon is the luxury myth model, Taemin is the performance authority model, the soloist whose stage identity is so sharp that he doesn't need a group aura to feel complete. If G-Dragon wins by myth and gravity, Taemin wins by something even harder to manufacture: authority, not popularity, not viral moments. Authority is when the stage feels like it belongs to you before you even move. And Taemin is one of the rare idols whose solo identity is so complete that people stop calling him a SHINee member doing solo. They call him what he actually is, a solo artist with a signature discipline. 1. His brand is a skill, not a concept. Most idols can change concepts every comeback. Taemin doesn't rely on concepts to carry him. His concept is control, precision, tension, elegance, danger, and that hypnotic calm that makes even silence feel choreographed. When you watch him, you're not just consuming a song. You're watching a language being spoken fluently. That's why he stays hot even during gaps. You can't replace a language with a trend. 2. He owns the hardest lane in K-pop. Here's the truth: being a soloist is already hard. But being a performance-first soloist is even harder, because you have to deliver live charisma without a group's energy filling the stage. Every weakness is visible. Every second is judged. Taemin built his solo reputation in exactly that lane, and once you own the hardest lane, you become the industry's reference point. That's why younger idols study him. That's why fans argue about him like he's a standard, not a person. 3. Why his solo heat keeps returning. Taemin's solo heat comes from replay value, not just songs, but stages. A lot of idol content is disposable. You watch once, move on. Taemin's performances invite re-watching because they're layered. Tiny gestures, timing, facial control, body lines. People don't just stream, they analyze. And analysis is a sign of real cultural weight. When viewers analyze you, you've become important, not just entertaining. 4. The playbook: how Taemin stays hot solo. Taemin's solo blueprint looks like this. Own a skill category so clearly that nobody can copy it without being compared to you. Build a stage identity that works anywhere: music show, arena, festival, camera close-up. Stay consistent with quality so your name becomes shorthand for premium performance. Evolve quietly so you never look like you're chasing trends. That's why Taemin's solo status doesn't depend on headlines. It depends on competence, and competence ages well. Now we move to the third lane, arguably the most brutal one in solo K-pop. Because if Taemin is performance authority, Baekhyun is the fandom and sales engine. The soloist who can drop music and immediately turn it into numbers, demand, and market power. If G-Dragon is myth and Taemin is authority, Baekhyun is the most ruthless kind of solo hot in K-pop. Measurable demand. Because Baekhyun doesn't rely on aura alone. He relies on a fan ecosystem so organized and so loyal that every solo move immediately turns into proof. Sales, streams, sold-out energy, trending keywords, and the kind of momentum that forces the industry to pay attention, whether they like it or not. 1. Baekhyun's solo brand is built like a machine. Some soloists feel like special occasions. Baekhyun feels like a system. He has a voice that's instantly recognizable, but more importantly, he has a sound identity that fans can describe in one sentence: smooth, emotional, controlled, but still commercial enough to replay. That matters because replay is what fuels numbers, and numbers are what fuel opportunities. And the moment you can convert emotion into numbers reliably, you become a market, not just an artist. 2. His biggest weapon is fandom trust. Here's what people underestimate. Being a soloist isn't only about talent. It's about whether your audience believes you will deliver every time. Baekhyun's solo career has been built on that trust. When he announces something, fans don't ask, will it be good? They ask, how big will it go? That confidence is rare, and it creates an effect that's almost unfair. The hype cycle starts earlier, spreads faster, and lasts longer because fans treat the release like a guaranteed win. 3. He dominates the outside the group lane. A lot of idols struggle to escape the shadow of their group identity. Baekhyun did something smarter. He didn't try to separate from EXO emotionally. He became a solo artist whose identity stands on its own while still benefiting from legacy. So he gets the best of both worlds. Solo brand power. Fans show up specifically for him. Plus the gravity of EXO recognition. The name still carries weight. 4. The playbook. How Baekhyun stays hot solo. Baekhyun's solo blueprint looks like this. Make the audience feel safe. They trust the quality. Make the product easy to replay, songs that stick, not just impress. Keep the relationship strong. Fans feel personally connected. Turn every comeback into proof. Numbers become the headline. That's why Baekhyun belongs in this top 3. He represents the sales and coverage lane, where solo success is measured, undeniable, and repeatable. Now we hit the payoff. These 3 aren't competing on the same battlefield. They're 3 different solo business models: myth, authority, and numbers. Here's the key. G-Dragon, Taemin, and Baekhyun are not hot solo in the same way. They're dominating 3 completely different systems of solo success. 3 business models that print influence differently. G-Dragon, Kaki, myth. Plus scarcity. Gravity. G-Dragon's solo dominance is built on cultural gravity. He operates like luxury. Rare appearances, huge impact. He doesn't need constant releases because his identity itself is a currency: style, taste, legacy, and the sense that every move is an event. His hotness is attention leverage. When he moves, the market reacts. Taemin, Taka's performance authority. Taemin's solo dominance is built on skill-based authority. He owns the stage in a way that can't be copied without comparison. His name is shorthand for premium performance, and that reputation keeps him hot even when trends change, because competence ages well. His hotness is credibility. He's a reference point, not a moment. Baekhyun, chalk numbers engine. Boss. Fandom power. Baekhyun's solo dominance is built on measurable demand. His fanbase converts loyalty into results: sales, streaming, and constant coverage, making his solo releases proof moments. His hotness is market power, reliable performance that turns every comeback into numbers. Verdict: who's number 1? If you judge by cultural impact and aura, G-Dragon takes it. If you judge by stage dominance and artistry, Taemin is unstoppable. If you judge by commercial reliability and fandom conversion, Baekhyun is lethal. And the real twist is, all 3 can be the hottest at the same time, because they're winning different wars. So this isn't just 3 idols doing solo work. It's 3 men running 3 different solo empires. G-Dragon proves scarcity, plus cultural gravity can keep you untouchable. Taemin proves performance authority can outlast trends and hype. Baekhyun proves fandom power can turn every comeback into undeniable numbers. And that's why they're the hottest solo independent idols right now. Not because they're loud, but because their systems are strong. Now it's your turn. If you had to crown one as the ultimate solo king, G-Dragon, Taemin, or Baekhyun, who are you choosing? And why? Myth, authority, or numbers? Like the video, subscribe, and tell me what you want next. Top 3 female idols dominating solo right now, or the most successful group to solo transitions in K-pop history.